Good morning, everybody. I'm Joe Haggerty. I'm the CEO of the Alexandria Chamber of Commerce. Welcome this morning. Many of you know that our mission is supporting businesses and cultivating community. So we're going to continue with that this morning. We've got a kind of a new approach here called the new normal, and we're talking with people that are reopening their businesses, and we're talking about the plans they've made so that they're ready to reopen their businesses following all of the recommendations from the government. Also want to remind you that we are doing a June networking breakfast with the next week with the Alexandria Chamber of Commerce. It will be on Thursday, June 11th in the morning at 7:45. So if you want to network with people and do it virtually, we'll be doing it with the Arlington group, and it'll give you a chance to meet some new people. I'll also just let you know we've done 20 now, maybe 25 of these sessions in the last 10 weeks, dealing with everything from restaurant issues, happy hours, to the PPP, how to get your money, and then how to report it if you do get that money. So we'll continue doing that to make sure that people have information and to keep people seeing each other and talking with each other. But now it's my pleasure to turn things over to Nicole McGrew. Many of you probably know she is the founder of Threadleaf, a women's boutique focused on fashion-forward, sustainable clothing. I just call it organic clothing. I don't know if that's right, Nicole. And she features independent designers from all over the world. She opened in 2018 and relocated to larger quarters on Fayette Street in April of 19. In 2019, she was picked as a rising star at our Business of the Year Awards. So we're really excited about that. And she, as far as we're concerned, she's still a rising star, even though it's 2020. So before she opened her business, she has a law degree, she has a law background, and she worked in the Obama administration and for the Department of Justice. And she's been recognized in the Washingtonian, Modern Living, Northern Virginia Magazine, and all of the Alexandria newspapers. So please welcome Nicole McGrew. It's up to you, Nicole.
Good morning. Thanks for that fantastic introduction, Joe. And thank you to the Chamber for giving me this chance this morning to talk to everyone about how Threadleaf is reopening in these changed times. You know, yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster these last few months. And then what we're doing now is sort of multiple phases or multiple different processes. We have an online store, which I did not have before. It was something that had been in my back of my mind for a while, but then obviously we had to get that going. So opened our online store in March, and we've been doing curbside pickup, which has been working really well, and that's something we're going to continue to do as we move forward. We've started doing now appointment shopping as well, and so that's been, people have seemed to like that also. So that is where you make an appointment. They're usually about an hour, and it's just me and the other person in the store. And they have the whole store to themselves. If they want, they can tell me ahead of time if there are things specifically that they're looking for, and I can pull them out. If it's someone that I know fairly well, like I have some customers that are regulars and I kind of have a sense of what they might like, I pull those things out for them, have them all ready. And then in the next week or so, we'll start doing general hours where it'll be limited to 3 people at a time, and they'll be spread out. I mean, the space is large enough that you can have 3 people in here and it'll be okay. But with, you know, myself wearing face coverings and the folks who are in wearing face coverings. The distinction though between the appointments versus the general opening, and this is something that's required by the state. If you're here by appointment, you can use the fitting room. If you're here during general hours, you can't use the fitting room, even if there's no one else in the store. If it's that window of general hours just under the order, like I can't use the fitting room, or that person can't use the fitting room. And so that's just one thing that, and it'll be clear on the website, you know, if you think you want to try on a lot of stuff, that an appointment will probably be a better thing for you to do. But if you're just walking down the street on a Friday or a Saturday and want to come in or something, you're welcome to do that as well. Some other things that we're doing, some are new, some are things we've always done. And so I've always steamed everything before I put it out on the sales floor. And I always steamed everything after someone tried it on and if someone returned something. And so that was something that we were already doing, and that's something that we'll continue to do, just to make sure everything is as fresh and as clean as possible. Just keep it steamed. We'll have it like hanging up on a separate section for a while. So we're doing that. We've also, we've talked with the ALX Promise folks, and we've talked with the health department about all of those things that need to be done in terms of wiping everything down every 2 hours. We have a sanitizer station set up right when you come in. Like I said, we'll be wearing face coverings. Anyone coming in will be wearing face coverings. So, it's not the same sort of shopping experience, but we're trying to keep it as close as possible while adhering to the rules to keep everyone safe. And then we'll still be doing the online option. We'll still have curbside pickup. Once I have general hours, I believe the curbside pickup days will change, but we'll still offer it. And so you'll have, going forward, 3 different options for the store. There's online shopping with delivery or curbside pickup. There's appointment shopping where it'll be one-on-one and you can try on things, and you can, again, it's usually an hour, but if you think you need more time, that's fine. And then there'll be the general hours of shopping where we'll have a limit of 3 customers, and we'll just make sure that they remain 6 feet apart. But then with that option, you cannot use the fitting room. And so that's how we plan on progressing until, I don't know what the phase 2 situation is going to be, but that's how we'll progress until it seems like we can maybe shift things a little bit more.
That's great. Thank you, Nicole. We did get a couple of questions in advance, so I'm going to throw has any questions, feel free to share them in the chat box. You went through it so fast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Tell us a little bit about how you approached the e-commerce component, because I know that you mentioned that that's not something that you had previously. So certainly getting that up and running was pretty critical to making sure revenue was coming in. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, sure. So I always had a website, but it was more of like a static site. It gave you the hours, told you where the store is, a little bit about the store. And so, my whole thing is, because everything is sort of small batch, the fabrics are really, really nice. It's all about touching. Like, people come in and they love to touch everything. And they're like, oh, this feels amazing. And this is so soft. And so, you can't do that online. And so there was like this kind of reluctance about how to really do it. But then, at March, April, May, who knows, like that was really the only option. And so I took that Squarespace site. We have lots of photos of everything already. only some of them are on Instagram, but I always have so many photos, and I have a really great team that's really talented. And so we were able to just categorize everything, do the descriptions, get the photos, and get it up. We got a lot of the store up like in one weekend, which is really, really fast. And then we've just been adding more and more as we go along. And it's hosted by Squarespace. I think they do it's good for, you don't have to hire a developer, which is nice. I think some people think you have to spend $10,000 or however much to put a website together. I've heard those numbers quoted, but if you just need to do something really fast and still have it look very clean and streamlined, there are products that you can use that will enable you to do it yourself and get it up pretty quickly.
That's great. I know, and Joe mentioned this, that a lot of the items that you carry are, manufactured or created all around the world. How has the coronavirus impacted your ability to import those items?
Sure. So that's been a bit of a challenge, especially because my designers are on the smaller side. And so I had one shipment this designer is actually based in Atlanta and makes everything in Atlanta, but her fabrics are from Italy. And because of their quarantine, because it was ahead of ours, and so she couldn't get the fabric in to complete the order. And so that order is just canceled because she doesn't have the fabric. And so that's been an issue. I've had some, I get products from Japan that just took long. They were ready, but then they couldn't ship them out. And so I had to wait for those to be able just to be shipped out. I have some new items that I just put up last week from Spain. And Spain had a very, very strict quarantine. And it was a similar thing where the items were ready, but they couldn't actually leave to ship them. And so it's been sort of this cascading, depending on the country, or even with California, I have items that are made in California because California had a lockdown and people couldn't get to work. And so I couldn't get those items either. And so it's just been different stories. Tell me the country that you want to know about and I can tell you what happened, because it's been just sort of different stories. Canada's been pretty easy, actually. They've been fine. But some of the other places have been tougher. Yeah.
Good to know. So clearly all Canadian brands are at Threadleaf right now.
Yeah.
I know that you also have a pretty active social media following on Instagram. And so how have you been communicating with them about, the release of your e-commerce site and your new hours and what your guidelines are going to be or are?
Sure. Yeah. So definitely Instagram posts, Instagram stories, and even in the bio being very clear about these are the hours, this is what we're doing right now. And then my customer email, I don't bombard people. I try to just send them actually every other week. But that's always where you can get information. And then just on the website itself, I have information. So just trying to send regular updates. Instagram definitely has the most frequent updates about what's going on. But even still on the website and through the customer email, I try to make sure that everyone knows what's going on. And even on the door, I have everything posted on the door too, in case someone is just walking by and curious.
Great.
Hey, Lovey, I'd like to ask a question. So Nicole, we're always looking at the business atmosphere right now.
Sure.
And we've been talking to people, especially near where you are on King Street. What's your sense of your business last year at this time versus now when you can only see a few customers?
Oh, yeah, well, it's huge. I mean, last May, so I moved to this location in April of 19, like you mentioned, and my anniversary is in May, my store anniversary. So last May, my anniversary event was probably my single best day of the year. And May was a very good month. And this May compared to last May, it was probably, I don't know, 70% difference, something like that. So even though the online channels are working, it's definitely not the same. Even if people are working from home, it's just a different climate right now. People want loungy things to the extent that people are even thinking about buying anything. They're generally, thinking about loungy things and more comfortable things. And I totally, I get all of that. I understand. But yeah, it's definitely not a great time to have a boutique right now. So, yeah.
To that point, what kind of items are you starting? Have you changed what you're carrying?
Well, it's hard.
Loungy feel.
Yeah, I to some extent I can, but for some other things, because the designers are so small, I order things 6 months in advance. And so I have things that were coming in March, April that I ordered in September, October, thinking it would be one way. And they're summer items, but they're summer items for people that are going to the office, and so to the extent I have other designers that can work on a shorter time frame. And I've been able to pivot and do more t-shirts and more shorts, and things that you can wear around the house, but still if you want to go for a walk or if you're doing a porch date or something, you still look nice and you're comfortable. So I have, to the extent I can pivot, I have pivoted. So it's just one of those things right now. So we'll manage and get through it. I also think though that some people are kind of bored. I've been getting lots of messages now from people that they're tired of being in sweats, they're tired of being in leggings, they're tired of being in athleisure. So, so there's that too.
I think some people are ready to rebound out of their wardrobe and back into more traditional business attire, I think. So is there any preparation or anything you're doing, thinking forward towards that direction?
Sure. Well, there's a couple of things. So I know that, we have the sidewalk sale in the summer coming up. And so that might be something where we can, and we're working to try to get more access out on the sidewalk, and maybe even have some street closures. I'm not sure. So, but we're going to try to get people out to that way they can really, really browse. And won't have to limit it to 3 people because you can have more people looking around. I think also just as the state moves through these different phases and things start to slowly open up, or as people start to slowly go out, even if they're not going to work per se, but they're going out to dinner, there'll be more of an occasion to try to, you know, think about what you're wearing and want to dress up maybe a little bit. So working on things like that, you know. Does that answer your question, Lovey? Or
Yes, no, that was great. I think you're right. As more opportunities to leave the house come open, I think hopefully people will be wanting to check out a new wardrobe and try a couple of new items.
Yeah, I mean, I can say I've noticed, because I'm here for curbside pickup, and there's so many people that are home and they're just out taking walks. And so I see lots of people that have this look on their face like they've never seen this store before. Like you kind of know that look when they're like, I didn't know this was here. And so like I've noticed a lot of that when I'm in here. So that's good.
That's great. You're getting more of that curb appeal.
Yeah. So I change the windows. I was, even since March, even though no one was coming in, I would still come in like every week and change it up and do different things. And I know like some of my customers, like when they're walking their dogs, they would say, oh, I see you change the windows, or like they seem to just appreciate kind of having the changing tableau. So.
Joe, did you have any more questions? I don't want to speak over you.
No, so you're kind of on Upper King Street a little bit. You're kind of halfway between the water and the metro station. Do you feel like the traffic is picking up a little bit? More people are out now that the restaurants can do outside dining?
I think there are more people out. I know last weekend when I was here doing curbside, and I saw lots of people out walking around, and just kind of, it was definitely like this hibernation kind of thing where people were like, oh, the sun, and they're out and they're walking, and I really did have that feeling of people like when they just emerged from a long winter and they haven't been outside in a long time. There were quite a few people out. I mean, not like an unhealthy amount, but just, a nice amount of people walking around. So,
yeah. Let's see if there's any other questions from other people. Put them on the chat. Just unmute yourself and ask the question. Quiet group.
Coffee's in low supply this morning. All right. Well, Joe, that's all that I have if you don't have anything additional to add.
Okay. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for doing this with us.
thank you for having me.
We'll be posting it on our website, and we know that people have been watching all of these new normal presentations, so they'll be looking you up and checking with you. I did hear the mayor say yesterday that we may be moving to phase 2 soon.
Okay.
That may give you a little bit more flexibility when he announces that. So
Yeah. Well,
thanks for doing this, and good luck.
thank you. Everyone have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole.